Hi, this is a practical research discussion on data interpretation. I am Maria Carlin Luzboyan, and this is to bring to you some practical approaches to data interpretation. What we have to understand is that data analysis is a process that's circular in nature, where one identifies a problem, collects data, cleans or weeds out the unnecessary noise from the data collected, then analyze the data, and from the result, one interprets the resulting statistical tables and any visual rendition of the data. There are some main types of data analysis. We have the descriptive analysis, and it answers what happened. Exploratory analysis tells us how to explore data relationships. The diagnostic analysis answers why something has happened. Predictive analysis will approximate what future events may happen or what would likely happen in the future for a particular period that is covered by the data collected as reference for the futuristic forecast. And then we have the prescriptive analysis, which will explain how events will happen. So types of data analysis would be grouped into cluster analysis, cohort analysis, regression analysis, factor analysis, neural networks, data mining, text analysis, time series analysis, decision trees, or conjoint analysis. So what this menu of methods of data analysis methods tells us that a particular research will have to decide prior to data collection what method of analysis is appropriate for the target data. Always, one does not decide on the method of analysis after data has been collected, because there is the danger of trying to manipulate the data to conform to a particular type of analysis. Okay, the main types of data analysis for most of the researches that one will most likely adopt will be the 5 that's given in this list. Okay. Ang apot pag nagre-research baga. So this is primarily intended for high school students or senior high. Ang apot. Ata baya kita ma-research. Diba? Bakit? And some will most likely say, kaniguan man ngaya. Ata man ta kaipuhan ta maaraman ang ano, paano, para sa ano ang research. Okay. So we have all these questions. Pero when you look at what I have used as graphics, you would notice that these are all natural gifts, which are beautiful rendition of flowers. Okay. So, ang apot, no? If we would like to understand ano ba ya ining mga flowers na ini? Paano ini pwedeng ipag-grow? Para sa ano? Pwede ini gamiton ng mga flowers. Always the objective of any research is for us to either validate something that we think is true but which needs to be verified, or that we would like to be able to progress from a lower level of use, di ba? Kung di pa masyadong nagagamit sa pinakamaray ang bagay, then we would like to elevate the utility kaya na bagay na yan. And also, we would like to ask ourselves, paano ang pinakamaray na proseso para ma-achieve sa objective kang paggamit kaining bagay na ini or resource na ini. Okay, ano ang mga rason and importansya kang research? Okay, part kang mga rason iyo na maaraman ang maray, ang dapat, ang mas fácil, ang mas may benepisyo. Also, para matabangan magdesisyon kita. Okay? Ang example kaini would be advertisements. Ang advertisement would be to encourage people to believe in something. Ang naaraman tang maray sa advertisement for commercial purposes. But there are social advertisements like kung gusto ta ngayon, student council ka ngayang member. Kung gusto mong ma-encourage ang mga estudyante sa Daraga National High School, let's say, or sa specific national high school para ma-motivate na mag-eskwela, dahil magpara-absent and maglaog on time, or even before the start of classes. So you create a social advertisement that is believable and that would encourage students to identify with that goal that you have in mind. No? So, pwede man kita matabangan sa paagi kang research para magpili sa mga pwede pilion sa buhay. Okay? Kadakul na pinipili kang tao kung ano ang pasil sa ngunyan. Pero, pwedeng arog lang kayan ang satuyang paghiling sa buhay. Kasi, pwedeng pasil ngunyan, pero mas magiging dipisil sa maabot na panahon. Okay? Kaya, matabangan kita lugod na kabus na decision ta or most of our decisions will be based on evidence, on data that we can access or na pwedeng pagmuni-munion pero igwa kitang kinakaputan na ebidensya kun ngata ang mga bagay-bagay kaipuhan na digdio magposisyon ang buhay tao ining option na ini ang pilion. Another reason for research would be na mag-alangkaw ang kapasidad na gamiton ang naturalesa na katalian o kapasidad nindo po na mga tao o itaas and i-develop ang satuyang self-confidence ta kung kita nagkakaigwa nin basehan, nin ebidensya kang tuyang tinatarang asin may pinanghahawakan na pwedeng i-verify kan iba na ang sa imong tinataram totoo, magkakaigwa kita nin dakulang pagtubod sa satuyang sadiring kapasidad na masabotan na ang bagay igwa nin pwedeng paghablutan o pagkuahan kan sa tuyang mga desisyon. Kasabay man kaini na kasabot asin magamit ang satuyang independent thinking. Para da isa na kita nagtutubod sa sabi-sabi kang iba, pero igwa kita nin sa diring pag-isip asin sa diring paghanap kang ebidensya kun ngata ang mga bagay siring ang naturalesa. Asin kita matatabangay na luway-luway ag mature pag kita tatauna magamit kang mga data para da isa na haka-hakaan gabos. Asin tawan tanin oportunidad ang sa diri maging pinakamaray. The best of who we all can be. Asin magpreparar kita sa aampangon na panahon na kaipuhan maging productive member kita kang sosyedad. Okay. Ini po ang 21st century skills. Hali po ini sa specific source. So, we have basic knowledge skills, we have applied skills. So, when we look at the applied skills, we have critical thinking and problem solving. We have oral communications, written communications, teamwork or collaboration, diversity, information technology, leadership, creativity, innovation, lifelong learning, self-direction, work ethic, ethics, or social responsibility. Ining gabos na applied skills na ini na tadalaganan po ini o kan pagtautan nin panahon asin nin esfuerzo para makanood kita na mag-pursue ki research study. Ini gabos na applied skills. Matatahak po ini kung kita bilang sarong grupo na nagkasararo na ampangon ang sarong problema sa sosyedad asin maghanap nin kasimbagan sa problemang ini, then we would be able to slowly develop these applied skills which are identified as components of the 21st century skills. So for the top 12 skills for the 21st century, we will have to say that consists of, this is the skills set, okay? Critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy, flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. Kung kita dai tatao makipagtrabaho sa grupo, mahirap kita mag-ampang kang maabot na panahon even sa panahon tangunyan. Takaipuhan ng God na magtarabang kita bilang sarong grupo sa senior high, sa lit na grupo, asin mag-practice how we can slowly cultivate these top 12 skills for the 21st century. Kaipuhan tang mag-collaborate, kaipuhan tang mag-uron-uron, asin i-share ang results kang sa tuyang study. Always, we will have to use information literacy, ninhuli ta ang pag-data collection. Some of this will require that we use information technology as part of the process or as part of the data collection, or most likely as part of data analysis. All the rest of the skill set identified in here would be part of the dynamics kang pagpreparar kang sa indong research study. Okay. Ano ang options para magtrabaho on a research output? You can use regular discussion, you can use songs, you can use visual presentation, you can use play, story, news story, or ulat sa bayan. Kasi we're looking in here for the national high schools na darakulaon ng enrollment, as in na ang research teacher will have a very difficult time attending to individual outputs and understanding that we have a very diversified group of students whose potential skills as well as high school track will differ, no? Kay puhantang tawanan ang mga estudyante nin mga option kung paano sinda mag-present kang sa indang research output. Tanganing antemano, even before they go for data collection, they know that the output that they will generate from their data will be presented as either a regular discussion in the form of song, in a form of visual presentation or poster presentation. It could be in a manner of a play or a story, news story, or ulat sa bayan. There are other methods of presenting, and we have the regular narrative or technical discussion, such as the one that can be published in a technical journal. Pag sinabi tang technical journal, this could be a way for some of you, with the help of your teachers or advisors or your parents even, to develop the skill on how one can be very concise with your output so that the entire research output can be presented in a few pages, but providing all of the components without loss of substance. Okay? So, if you notice, this is a guy who may probably be known to you, and he is Tupac. Okay? Unfortunately, he died very early, and you can just see these are just example of his output, and you could see from the lyrics of his songs that these are based on real life, and this is like research. He bases his songs on real life, and he tells his story very effectively. And therefore, the impact of his songs, when you know the history of these songs, ibig sabihin, may pinaghuhugutan si Tupac kay data or evidence on how he prepares or develops the lyrics to his song. So if you could independently access his song entitled Dear Mama, then let me know if you agree with me that all of this output of his will have to have some basis, or all of it has basis from real life. Okay, so that essentially is research. Okay, what are the basic considerations for research? Okay, dapat similar ang mga study units. Okay, when we say similar, na from the start of the study, wala dyan na masyadong nasa luwas kang target population na sinasabi. Magamit kita ki sample na representative kang population para ang satuyang effort as in proseso pwedeng tawanan nin atensyon as in mahigpit na quality control para minimize ang errors, or that the errors will have to be insignificant, as in tama or valid ang data collection instrument. Ibig sabihin, kaipuhan ini ipreparar o magamit ki standard data collection instrument, or kung dai ki ma-access na standard data collection instrument, mag-crear kamo nin sa diri nindo, but it has to go through a validation process. As in, kaipuhan na valid din ang proseso kan data collection. Libre, bako pinipuwersa ang respondents o source kan data. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng mag-refuse ang respondent na magpartisipar, kaipuhan tang i-recognize na karapatan ninda iyan. Mantiniron ang etiketa kan pagkolekta kan data, which means that we will all have to be conscious of the need to observe the ethics in research, which means na kaipuhan tang respetohon na ang mga respondents will have to be accorded the highest privacy rights. As in, kaipuhan may integridad ang researcher na nungka pagdudahan na ang data na pinipresentar mo, minanipular mo o chinamba-chamba. Integridad kang researcher, ibig sabihin na ika bilang nagtao kang data, kumpiyansado ang tao na hali ini sa tama, validong data sources. Okay, paano kita mag-interpret kang data? So, dapat kay punta magamit ka appropriate statistical data, i-present kitama ang data, da ipagmitiran ang data, da ipagdagdagan, da ipagkulangan, da ipagtsambahon, gamiton ang mas simple na format kan data presentation sa paagi ki table, graph, picture, or illustration. As in, mag-stick sa original research problems, okay, na ang data ginagamit para i-support ang findings kang research, da ikita magtao nin sa diring opinion. Okay. What are the practical areas of research for the Daraga National High School or for the national high schools in the province of Albay or even for Bicol? Mga suggestions ko po, mga problema kang local government, which include basura, tubig, bausi, seguridad, DRRM, ekonomiya, pagtios. Okay? Kung ilingon ta sa pandemya, sa mga konsekwensya kang lockdowns, kan kadipisilan kang tao. Pwede man isang grupo pa kang areas for research will be mga problema pigaampang, iaampang, inaampang kang familia. Example kaini, absentee na mga magurang dahil mga OFWs or sa harayo nagtatrabaho, single or solo parents, teenage pregnancies, broken families, kakulangan in terms of food, clothing, shelter, employment, or opportunities, mga personal na kadipisilan like identity crisis, the LGBT issues, depression, working while taking classes, warang role model na hinuhugutan para magkaigwanin kusog buot na ampangon ang kadipisilan sa pag-adal o sa pag-mature, bullying, child labor, kapabayaan kimagurang. So, iniong mga problemang ini, kung sa tuyang nga adalan, hindi bako ta kita nagmimiter sa mga issues na ini, pero kudi na kita nagmamawot na mas masabutan nin kadaklan kun ngata ining problema nagiging dipisil, nagiging agrabyado ang naapektuhan kaini o na ining mga problema maski ini inaampang kang mga pamilya nakakayanan sa maray na paagi asin natatawanan paluway-luway nin solusyon. Another set of issues na pwedeng address ki practical research ki mga senior high schools would be edukasyon. Okay? Kadipisilan sa edukasyon, which include kalidad kang edukasyon, challenges kan mga administrador, teachers, students, kung paano mag-generate nin additional funds, kung paano magkaigwan ng linkages para sukakulangan, let's say sa laboratorio, pwedeng ma-offset ki partnership o pwedeng maging virtual na pag-adal sa laboratorio, either partnership sa karatig na mga eskwelahan o mga research institutions kang gobyerno o pwede man po sa luwas within the Philippines or outside of the Philippines para ma-compensate ang dakulang kakulangan kang national high schools arising from their limited budget. Pwede man po na magkaigwanin mga supplementary inputs sa all levels of the holistic education of the secondary curriculum. Like, we can have volunteer resource speakers as a regular participant in the subject discussions. Bako lang po, like ginigibong seminar, kundi parte kang regular na classroom discussion. Pwede po mag-imbitar or magkaigwan in partnership from any and all of those who are willing to volunteer their talents, time, and skills for the benefit of students. Okay. What are examples of data discussion tools? The data visualization tools can be used. We can use the charts. We can use histogram, Gantt chart, heat map, box and whisker plot, waterfall chart, area chart, scatter plot, timeline, highlight table, bullet graph, choropleth map, word cloud, network diagram, and correlation matrices. So, pag ilingon ta inio na ang data discussion tools ta, bako lang naka-confine on the narrative, no? Na words, which at the level of the high school students can define challenges, could mean challenges for some. So para magamit ang results, maging useful ang results kang sa tuyang research sa senior high school, then we could use these discussion tools which are generally visual in nature but is able to communicate the same information as that can be presented or shared using the technical discussion. Okay, so these are examples of what can be used as discussion tools. Okay, so when we have this heat map, So let's say sa garbage collection, the heat maps will tell us arin dyan ang mga diferensyosong area. Let's say dengue challenge. So pag naka-heat map ka, ibig sabihin iyan na may mga red na iyan. Those are the problematic areas. If we're also talking about water pollution of the seas, this can also be used. Or let's say kung you're looking at seguridad kang mga Daraga National High School students going home at night, so naka-map out ka na ining mga areas na ini have recorded some forms of crimes against a person. So kay puhan i-avoid ini na pag-agihan kang those who are coming out of the schools after, let's say, a certain time of the night, like after 7 o'clock, you can produce the heat maps. It could even be time coordinated. Okay, and for this waterfall chart, so we get to see how this global carbon balance. Pag sinabi ining this is used for global carbon balance, which is a highfalutin type of issue, pero the same tool can be used for the simple issue, but which could be better rendered by this type of waterfall graph. Okay, and then we have the box plot where you have all of this, and that gives us the highest point, lowest point, and the middle 50%. So you can actually directly compare these box plots and at the same time be able to visually see kung alin ang set na mas bako similar ang mga characteristics. Okay, and we have the area chart. So if we would like to look at the daily visitors record, let's say, or let's say we can look at, let's say, garbage collection volume, okay, at specific collection points. So this could also be an area chart. And we have the scatter plot. Let's say if we would like to map out the senior high school's diagnostic exams, or let's say not results for the national high school through the years, we can plot them. And when the scatter is so diverse, then that means there is much problem with developing similar skills among students. Okay, and then in here we have the timeline, which will be the crisis response timeline. This could be very appropriate for, let's say, if you're dealing with teenage pregnancies or with bullying and etc. Okay, so we have the highlight table where this will be the this map would be, this mapping would be the BMI highlight table, where the shading or the color rendition, okay, identifies difficult sectors of the weight and height of men. This could also be rendered for women or the females. And then we have the bullet graph, where one can provide how these bars can be directly compared. And then we have the chloropleth map, which would be like a highlight table, except that it's rendered as a map. Okay, and then we have the word cloud. You can use this when you try to